What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and in this video we'll be talking about Zcash, ZEC, USD, doing some technical analysis and price forecasting. If that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get into it, okay? It is the 12th day of November. Here we are with about 9 hours and 50 minutes left in the day. $474 is the price. We've gone a little bit lower than I initially thought we would. Right, we got bearish at this low here, or sorry, bullish. Not we were bearish at the high. We got bullish at the low, and rightfully so for a little bit, but it came back over the past couple of days, didn't it? This is not as low as I thought that we'd go, but on the bright side, my friends, a 43% correction is pretty standard in these crypto markets. I mean, we've seen drops of a similar magnitude here from a high to a low. You drop 37%, right? We've seen even in the last cycle, I'm sure. We zoom all the way out. Man, we have to go way back, don't we? This is still 2023. We got to go way back. Even in the process of this overall, right, this from a low to a high, I think it's very obvious that this was a move right here. And even in the process of that move, you've seen drops that were larger than what we're seeing now, or even of a similar size at least, right? 46%, another one up there, one right here, right? Pretty significant drops. So it's pretty standard stuff. Back here at the high, we were talking about this scenario where we pull back and then we drive higher to our target destination of like $850 to $930, somewhere up here, and we get this slightly higher high right here, and that should give us bearish divergence on our daily RSI. We move up higher, we'll probably get some bearish divergence on the daily RSI. That will be where the high is. That's the thought there. The stochastics, kind of an odd area to bounce, but we have bounced right here before. We've literally bounced, look at the line, right, from here to here. We've literally bounced right off that zone before, and I think we've actually bounced off it before this even as well. It's kind of unorthodox, but it does happen at times. And the MACD, even though you're crossing red, I'm not worried about it. Sometimes, and oftentimes enough, when you're trending higher, you do get false crosses. Or, I mean, if we look at this here, for example, you crossed red on your MACD right here, and you are already done moving lower at that point. The MACD is kind of a lagging indicator. So the fact that we've crossed red here, I'm not anticipating lower prices to come from this. I'm thinking that we're probably done moving down and we're ready to move higher. I very much do believe that Zcash is going to move higher. I don't think this move is done here, but it is something that we should address, right? If we look at the monthly time frame, it's a completely possible option that Zcash tops off here, because the zone that we've been targeting for such a long time now, for I want to say over the past month now, has been like $712 to $927. We did hit the very end, the very low end of this range, and that is actually what made us bearish initially at the top, right? That's why I was telling people, don't buy here, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. It probably does go higher at some point, but it's probably not a good point to buy here, right? And then the next day it dropped down here. We flipped bullish again. We've been bullish since. I'm still bullish here, even with these lows. I very much believe that we will go higher to form that bearish divergence on the daily time frame, but you never know. Weekly time frame. Oh, we're on the monthly time frame. Let's look at the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame, the weekly RSI does have bearish divergence. We do have a lower high here, and we've come down quite a ways this week, right? We're down 22% this week. 4 days, 10 hours left. Can we come back up by the end of this week? Can we close it green? Can we push higher? Because if not, if we close red, if we do validate this bearish divergence, likely we're going to pull all the way back down to prices that are below $300. Right? If we can't invalidate this bearish divergence right now, if we can't close the week green, because again, this bearish divergence is there, but if the week closes green, we're not pointed downwards, we're not pointed upwards, and to some degree we'll probably even get rid of this bearish divergence. Still give us a double top overall. I very much do expect that this signal in the weekly RSI is going to provide a top. I just think that it's going to happen after the daily time frame comes up. We get that lower high, and then we move down. For this week to close green, we would have to close above $615, which I think we can do. We've seen Zcash make these kind of moves in a very short amount of time. I mean, 4 days, 10 hours left. That's more than enough time to make this move, right? We literally, from this exact price level, 2 days later, we were up above there, so it could definitely happen. Let's look at the short-term stuff. We'll zoom out from there, and we'll see, do we have implications of going lower in the charts, or are we finding a low here? Is it a higher low that we are relying on to move higher? Let's just see. 1 hour time frame here. And with this one, we'll use volume, right? Learned our lesson there on Coinbase. A lot of volume at the low. That's good. That's actually pretty good. You want to see a lot of volume at the low, just like you don't want to see a lot of volume at the high. It typically means, right, if there's a lot of volume at the highs, a lot of volume at the lows, what does that imply? Transactions, right? It's buying and selling, a transfer of people holding, right? Your smart money is selling, your dumb money is buying, right? Your smart money is buying, your dumb money is selling. And I do think that we are going to break out to the upside. You've got a kind of flat top here with ascending lows. You look like you want to break out to the upside, so you probably do. Low volume now tells us that we're just ready to break out at any given moment. 1 hour RSI, overall pretty bearish, but you've got some bullish setups here to move higher. Stochastics have some bullish setups, and the MACD as well. I mean, the MACD's kind of wonky, to be completely fair, but it would suggest that we climb higher as well. So it doesn't mean that we take out this high, but it does mean that we climb higher. Where might we go? You know, the first kind of target area that I would look at would be here, something around $510. And then after that, probably something around here. Let's see. No, maybe around there. Maybe up here. Between 510 and then we'd go up to 610. And then once we're above there, we should be home free to make new relative highs here. As long as we're getting volume to build, right? As we break out, as we start to move higher, we want our volume to kind of build, right? It doesn't have to be at these levels, but just building, not decaying. That's what we want to see. 4 hour time frame here, zooming out a little bit. Let's see. What's this low to high? 1414 bounce. You don't typically bounce right off the 1414 like that, but good job, you did. You look like you want to go higher. Get above the golden ratio. Get above $555. Once we get above 555, at that point on a 4 hour closing or a daily closing basis above $555, that will validate this as a low, at least as a momentary low, and should allow us to grow past this high here. Again, going up to about $850 to $930, right? That's the price target. We do have bullish divergence on the MACD. That's nice. A little bit of a double bottom here in the stochastics, looking like you want to come up. And the RSI is not oversold, which is nice. You're actually at the same areas that you've bounced from really throughout this whole range, right? You bounce from this exact zone here when you're at the bottom of this little pullback. You pull back from here when you're at your bottom. That was at this exact zone in the RSI as well. A bit different reactions. You moved up rather immediately afterwards, but here we're kind of straggling. That's okay. I do think we're going to move up higher. It's a little ABC correction, and now we're ready to go. Daily time frame, looking at this again, the RSI here, we're expecting that we will get a higher daily close than what we had on the 7th there, right? We'll get a higher daily close, and with that we should have a lower high in the price, or in the RSI, giving us some bearish divergence and marking the top. That's what we're looking for ultimately. Just because we're looking for that doesn't mean it has to happen, but a bounce right here off the 50, that's a pretty good look. And we're going to get that as long as today closes green. We're looking at the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame. Both of those suggest that we're going to move higher immediately right now. So we have 9 hours and 40 minutes left in this day. I do think that we're going to close the day green. I think that we'll close it higher than we are now, which should give us a definitive bounce off the 50, which is a very powerful signal in itself. The 50 has actually held us up well since August, and I think it will here as well. The MACD crossed red, but who cares, right? You crossed red. Again, you crossed red right here. And that was the low point, right? That was literally the low point. So I don't care that we've crossed red. That doesn't worry me at all. Overall, the MACD is actually in a very bullish posture right now. The stochastics bouncing here is also not common, but again, we've done it before. We've also found resistance here before. Anyways, things look good. Expecting higher prices. I don't really know if I have anything else that I want to say. There is some stuff to be aware of on the weekly time frame that do suggest that this move is coming to an end. I just don't believe that we're there yet. I do think, and this is where things get a little interesting, depending on where we top off. I do think that we'll pull back to prices that are lower than the lows that we've had here. So when we move up to 877, 930, whatever the price might be, right, from a high to a low here, we very well could go up to 930, somewhere in there. I think this fine little range here between the 1272 to the 3113, I think these lines are going to provide the range at which we top off at. after we go up here, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we pulled all the way back down to prices that were around 350, maybe even below 300 itself, something in that area, right? The 2272 off of this fib lines up very well with the high from the last cycle. The 1886-200 level lines up pretty well with this 886 and prior areas of resistance as well. And then if we were to take a drop like that, let's say we do go to $877, a drop like that would promote something on the lines of like a 60% drop or more. And as crazy as that sounds, we've seen that kind of action happen before. In fact, I'm thinking right now, ZBCN, ZBEC and Zcash are totally different cryptos, right? Totally different and different market caps by far. But ZBEC here went on a massive tear. It did a 10x move in about a month and 1 week's time. And then from there, you dropped high to low. You dropped overall 67%. And now you're in a posture, a very good posture to move up higher still, right? I don't believe that Zcash, after it tops here, it's done for the cycle. I do think it'll move higher. I'm just saying a 60% drop or more is not something that we should be unprepared for, okay? As low as like 260, at least something that is below $400 from this next high. That's what I would expect is going to happen. In the best case scenario, we do hold this area for support. We do hold above this high here, but I still would think that we interact with it to some degree, okay? Anyways, I got nothing else to say. Zcash is going higher. That's really the main essence of this video. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Very confident that we'll see something again between 870. It's really like $850 to $930. That's the target that we're going with, okay? Take care. Bye-bye. See you on the next one.